a lot more, and I wasn't as crazy. But for whatever reason, as the years go on and as the fights go on, I get more and more nervous. I don't know what it is, but and it's not a lack of confidence in my husband. He is a phenomenal martial artist, and it is so impressive to watch. It's really more about knowing how hard he worked for it and how much time and how much effort, and I just want it for him. Like, I want that victory for him, maybe even more than he wants it. So when I see him in there, I'm just like trying not to throw up. I get so nervous.
Yeah, I can imagine because, you worry about his health and his safety, but then at the same time, like you said, you want him to win more than he does because you want, it's, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, like, so it's funny because I do worry about his physical health, right? Like, like anybody could get knocked out and that's really scary, but I'm also a martial artist and I also understand that you got to give and take. So honestly, the physical part of it isn't as scary for me. It's that mental aspect. It's me being like, God, I hope he's dialed in. God, I hope he's focused. Like stuff like that, because I know my husband can handle anything. And usually after the first round, I'm like, okay, he's got this. Like, he didn't forget how to punch or kick. He's doing great. Like, okay. But it's just that, like, it's just that mental side of things where I'm like trying to keep it together.
Yeah. So now that you have reported on it and seen it from the outside, but kind of a glimpse on the inside, and then you started dating him and married him, and now you're fully in it. You understand what, the fight weeks, the camps, everything is like. Do you have a new appreciation for the entire sport?
Oh, wow. I mean, how could you not? Being able to have that chance to see from all angles. Like, I started at 21 years old. I had no idea what MMA was. I, really didn't think that there was much to it. Like, I just thought it was this aggressive, thing that, like, weirdos did that didn't know how to, like, control their emotions for. And then I quickly learned the science behind it and how much mental strength it takes and physical strength, and then myself getting in the ring on the amateur level, like learning how to properly diet and staying mentally focused and learning how to trust your ability, to then seeing my husband, boyfriend, fiance at the time, become a professional fighter and watching the stage that he fights in just get bigger and bigger and the lights getting brighter and brighter, and just watching him handle that from the diet to the focus to the execution. Like, people, I feel like the average person does not realize the amount of sacrifice it takes to be great and the amount of pressure that you deal with on a daily basis, and being able to learn how to control that pressure and use it in a positive way. It's just like, it's incredible what these professional fighters go through. And sometimes it's not for a lot of money. Like, you're not making good money until you are a pretty established fighter. So the amount of sacrifice that these professional fighters are doing, it's just so commendable and incredible.
Yeah, I was having the same, about the money, I was having the same conversation with a former UFC fighter the other day. And he said, I made good money, but the fans only see that chunk of money. They don't see that afterwards they have to go pay their gym, pay their coaches, pay, if they have a manager, pay their manager, pay the taxes on it. Like,
I was just going to say the taxes. I was just talking to my husband about this because it's incredible how much the taxes just like mess you up. So it's like, he likes to fight in Florida because they don't tax you on your winnings in Florida. But not only are you taxed in the state that you fight in, but then you're taxed at your state that you live in. And if you're fighting overseas, that's a third tax. So it's just like, I cannot believe that it's just like, you see the UFC numbers coming out like, oh, this is what they projected that they made for their fight. It's like, okay, well, take away 20% of it.
Yeah. And
so it's
like their
it's
bonus,
nuts.
yeah, the bonus they get might cover their taxes if they're lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Uncle Sam, they just wasted anyway. So dumb.
It's crazy.
Now, reading off everything you've been doing at the top of this interview is tiring enough as it is, and you're livid. What is, as busy as you are, how do you find your balance?
Yeah, it's definitely what's the word? It's I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure that out. It's a process. That's the word I was looking for. And on paper it does look like a lot, and sometimes I downplay my schedule, and I say to myself, oh, it's not too bad. Like I could probably fit a few more things on there. But I think it's really just about time management for me, is a big one, and just sticking to a schedule and allowing myself to not work as well. Being comfortable with shutting down and unplugging at certain hours of the day. And that's something that my husband and I try to do together, because my husband's a very busy man with physical therapy, and he has his own business, and I'm constantly working, whether it's radio or reporting. So, I think it's basically telling myself like, okay, it's okay to put my phone down after 6:00. The stories aren't going anywhere. The people aren't going anywhere. They can wait until tomorrow. And that's a huge learning curve. It's a big one, especially for a person who is, trying to promote themselves constantly and climb that ladder constantly. It's really hard to shut down. But I would say time management is one of my best friends, and naps. Oh my God. I am the nap queen. If I do not nap, I am a raging bitch, and that's just how it is. But yeah, time management, naps, and not being afraid to put that phone down after a certain hour. Definitely.
Yeah, it is. Obviously studies have shown that taking the phone and screens in general away a certain amount of time before you actually do go to bed helps people sleep so much better. And then obviously not having them in the bedroom, which can be hard because, that's most people's alarms. So, it's good that you actually realize, okay, this time screens are out, we're done.
Right. And granted, I say that to you today as if it's super easy, but there are days where I'm like, I find myself scrolling through Instagram, and I'm like, all right, put it down. Like, I don't need to do this right now. But most recently, I've started playing crossword puzzles and solitaire and stuff before I go to bed, instead of going on social media, because I find, and I've seen so many, videos and articles about the mental damage it takes if, you're going to bed, you're on social media before going to bed, or as soon as you wake up, you go on social media, and I'm trying not to do that. So solitaire and crossword puzzles have kind of been my thing lately.
Yeah, I like to do the New York Times mini crossword puzzle because I'm not saying I'm dumb, but I don't think I'm smart enough for the giant one. So
trust me, I got my setting on easy. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not at any point going to say I'm good about. I feel like I'm better about before the bed to not have it than waking up. Waking up first thing, that's usually all right, what notifications happened while I was asleep? All right, now that's taken care of. What's next? What happened while I was asleep? Also, what is everyone else talking about? That kind of stuff. But yeah, Absolutely. It is a process, and I think that more people need to be okay with taking breaks from their phone. I mean, people for centuries took breaks because they didn't have one. So I feel like this new generation can easily get by with not having it for a few hours.
Right. And, it's a little bit of, you're bored, you want to be on social media, but I think in a lot of people's cases, it's the grind culture. It's the can't stop, won't stop culture. It's the, work never sleeps type of attitude. And that certainly has its benefits, and there's plenty of successful people out there that have really made that their mantra, but it also leads to a lot of other things like burnout and, just like emotional detachment and just certain things that are not worth it. And I think Ross and I, my husband and I, are really trying to create good habits and just like understand the importance of shutting down and connecting and not being on the couch and simultaneously being on our phones together, and it's been harder than I wish I could admit, than I would like to admit. It's hard. But definitely worth it.
Yeah, I always find it a bit odd when we go to dinner or something and I look at other tables and people are just on their phone and they're not even talking to each other. Plus, especially like the fancier places, I'm looking around, I'm like, you're spending how much and you guys are just sitting here on your phone? You could
exactly.
Be doing that at home.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, so we discussed a little bit about how the mental aspect of it can really affect us, and we're seeing a lot more studies coming out of how much being on a phone or just staring at a screen in general can really mess with your mental aspect of it. But what do you like to do for your kind of mental workouts to kind of unwind or calm yourself or just find peace?
That's a good one. I tend to lean towards naps to shut down. and I don't know if that's the healthiest option. But when it comes to trying to relax or maybe just like shut my mind down a little bit, I do like to at one point I was doing this and I really need to get back to it, but at one point I had timers on my phone. They weren't, it's not the do not disturb of the iPhone. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but you can actually set up a certain time frame for your phone where it won't allow you to go onto your apps. So, I think I had it set from like 9 p.m. to like 5 a.m. because I wake up very early. So 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. I was not able to access certain apps without having to like click like, are you sure? Are you sure? And then it's like, it almost makes you feel guilty, right? And it's like, okay, no, I don't need to go on Instagram right now. But yeah, that was a big tool I was using for a while. Because it kind of makes you check yourself a little bit before picking up the phone. So that was nice. But I like to get outside. I like to kind of change my surroundings, like, especially if I'm feeling low or I'm like feeling unmotivated. I love to get outside when I can. Granted, I live in New England, so I mean, we'd have about 3 months where I can do that, but that's okay. I like to get outside and I love going to the gym. I mean, the gym really, I think the gym is the only place in my life right now where I am fully present. I am fully just invested in what I'm doing. I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about yesterday or tomorrow or what I have to get done. It is the only time in my life where I'm able to just shut down and focus on what I'm doing in that moment. So, yeah, I think, setting up the timers was big. Sleeping is my favorite thing to do. And the gym.
Yeah, I love the gym, and it is such a good, it's great for your body, obviously, but it's even better for your mind. Because getting those endorphins going, like you said, making yourself focus on something that isn't a screen or anything like that is like, you're bettering yourself in more ways than people think. And you don't have to go there to, not everybody wants to look like The Rock or, Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day. Like, you have to, just get your body going. You need it, especially if you have a sedentary job or just sedentary lifestyle in general. You don't even have to have a gym membership. Just go outside and walk for a while.
Right.
Take your dogs out for a walk. Your dogs need to walk too. Yeah.
It's so beneficial too. And it's like, I went through a period in time where, working out wasn't fun for